Hello and welcome to this special edition of The Top Story about a French musician carving out a career in China. Frenchman Christophe Hisquin has been working as a musician in China for over 2 decades. Known in China as Dai Liang, Hisquin was among the earliest foreign artists to create Chinese songs. In the past 2 decades, he's created over 100 Chinese songs. The musician's also performed at various music festivals and on TV shows in China. Besides being a musician, his side hustle also includes being a host and an actor. Now, the boss of 2 companies, Hisquin says he'll continue creating Chinese songs in China. The French national shared his stories in China and his observations of the music industry in a conversation with Zhou Fang.
Dai Liang, thank you for joining us. I know your artist name is Dantès, but your real French name is Christophe Hisquin. You also have a Chinese name, Dai Liang. Tell us how you got the name and what it means.
Okay, yeah, I got the name in the year 2000. At that time, my Chinese friend, who was also a singer, he came from Nanchang. He told me I needed a Chinese name, a real Chinese name, if I want to live in China and if I want to perform. And since I come from Lyon, in Chinese, Lyon means Liang. And my Chinese friend told me that I represent Lyon. In Chinese, you say 代表 Liang. So he said, when I am on stage, it's very luminous, it's very light, a lot of lights. So he said, maybe it will be interesting to have a name like Dai Liang, the one who wear the lights.
Actually, when I first heard this name, it reminded me of one of my friends. Her name is also Dai Liang. Then let's talk about your childhood a little bit. You embarked on your journey to China at the age of 11. At that time, you started to learn about Confucius and Chinese characters. Tell us what inspired you to do this at that time. I mean, after all, it was around the late 1980s, if I'm not mistaken.
It's true, yeah. 88, 89, 90. At that time, few Westerners were learning Chinese. But for me, I wanted to learn a very different language from French language. At that time, most of young French people, they were learning English, maybe German, Italian, Spanish. But I wanted to learn something very different. Different culture, different way of thinking. In Lyon, at that time, there is a very nice college, a school, where you could learn Chinese Mandarin. And I started to learn Mandarin when at the age of 11, before learning English.
So can you tell us more about the school, this project about Chinese learning?
Yeah, the school was mainly managed by a man who wanted to promote the Chinese culture. He wanted also to give to the French young people a new opportunity to learn new things, not only learn that the things that everybody were learning at that time. For me, it was really precious. I think it was really interesting and very different. It is what I wanted to learn. Maybe I saw also some kung fu. You know, at that time I was a young boy. I loved kung fu. I thought Bruce Lee was great. Li Xiaolong was great, and also because the way you write the characters is so different from us. And I remember also the teacher. My teacher was a Frenchman who went from Paris to Beijing with a motorbike. And he was really young. I think he was 23, 24. He was one of the first Chinese teachers in France. And he was so fascinating. He was really, really full of inspiration for me. After that, I had also Chinese teachers, like a young Chinese teacher who came to France to learn French, maybe. And it was great. I always loved to learn characters, learn the Chinese cultures. We even attended some Beijing opera shows in France. It was so nice, yeah.
Then I guess you became increasingly interested in things related to China, Chinese language, Chinese culture. At the age of 17, you finally got the chance to come to China. I've read reports that you interviewed a well-known and popular rock star Cui Jian. So tell us something about this special experience and what it means to you.
Oh, yeah, it's a very great memory. We were in 1995. It was my first time for me to go to China. So we flew from Paris to Beijing, and we arrived in July in Beijing Daxue. And at that time, the main purpose was to improve the Chinese language. So we were like kind of first young French boys to go to China, because I told my Chinese teacher, he was a French Chinese teacher. He knew that I was a singer. I wanted to be a singer, that I composed songs. So he told me, in China, there is a famous guy called Cui Jian. He's the father of rock and roll. And maybe if we are lucky, your task you will have to do this summer is to go and interview him. At last, one day it happens. So we saw Cui Jian. He invited us to go to his rehearsal with his band. Many different instruments, like Chinese instruments, like guzheng, erhu, xiaohao. All these instruments I didn't know. Then he gave us one of his CD. He encouraged us to go on with music.
After this visit to China, when did you come to China again for your career development?
I came in 5 years later, because in 95 I was 17 years old, so I needed to go back to France, because at that time, for many French people, also even for my parents, China was too far, and that's why I went back to France. I started a master degree, and then I went again to China, to Shanghai Daxue, University of Shanghai in the year 2000.
Well, in the past 2 decades, you've created more than 100 Chinese songs. What are these songs about, and what messages do you want to convey by making and singing them?
The first song I wrote, it was in 2000. The name was 因为有爱. So it was a love song. They wanted for me to sing a love song. So I wrote this song. Then after that, in 2005, and I had to participate to 外国人才艺大赛. So a competition for foreign talents, they call it. And at that time, they wanted me to write a song about China, the way I feel about China. So I wrote a song called 2000年我来到中国. The second song was more about the perception I had from China, like the Chinese people, how they welcomed me, the culture, the greatness of the country. And then after that, I started to write songs like 在中国的法国人. I composed a song, and I explained what is the life of a foreigner, like a Frenchman in China. So I did songs about love, I did songs about travel, about friends, about cultural exchange, about studying, all kinds of songs like that.
At the beginning, you were kind of told by organizers to write Chinese songs. But after that, as a foreigner, why did you continue creating Chinese songs?
This is a good question. When I arrived in China, I didn't know that China would be so great for me and for many foreigners that are in China. When I was a young man, 21, 22 years old, I arrived in Shanghai. I just wanted to learn Chinese, to discover China, maybe spend 1 year, 2 years, and then go back to France, go back to Europe. But then when I started to sing, and to sing in Chinese, first, I saw that there is a possibility for me to earn my living, just to earn money, just to do my job, like the job of a singer. So that was a great thing. The second thing is in 2005, 2006, 2007, few foreigners were on TV, on radio to sing their own Chinese songs. Most of foreigners, they were just singing songs that are famous. I met guys like Tashan, who helped me also to better understand the market in China. I met also like great presenters in Shanghai TV, like Chinese one. So they all helped me to understand the market in China. And my particularity was I wanted to sing my own songs. This is my artist label. It's something I want to do. And then the third thing, is that I wanted to improve my Chinese, and I thought that maybe by writing my own songs in Mandarin Chinese, it would be good both for me, because I will improve my Chinese, and also for Chinese artists, because if you're a foreigner and you write songs in Chinese, it's always different from a Chinese perspective. So I thought it was interesting for the artistic point of view. And then after that, I met some companies, like record companies in Guangzhou. They helped me to distribute my first and second CDs. So I always met people in China, Chinese people, Chinese friends, who encouraged me to do that.
I learned in one of your songs you listed dozens of Chinese cities you've been to. So tell us something about these interesting experiences of visiting different Chinese cities, and how was each experience different from one another?
I'm based in Shanghai, but I go everywhere. I mean, I go to other places. Every public was different. Every crowd were different. For example, one time I was in Xi'an and I started to play my music. People, they pay me to go there. And nobody reacted. I thought I was bad at like that time, or maybe I didn't know what happened. And then after that, I talked with Xi'an people, and they told me, when we like something, we don't really need to show it like, wow, it's great, it's crazy, And it's strange because in Shanghai, people, when they like something, you can see it on their faces. So it's different.
To some extent, during the past 2 decades, you have witnessed the development of China's music industry. So what kind of changes have taken place over the years in this industry, according to your observation and experiences?
Many changes, but I can think about maybe big changes first. The big change, I think, first was more and more live house. I remember I think it was 2006, 2007, maybe you could only find 2 or 3 live house in China. Maybe one in Beijing, one in Shanghai. So what I mean by live house, everybody knows it's places, small places, maybe 500 people could go there and listen to concerts. And then around 2015, 16, it was live houses everywhere in China. So it means like for bands, for singers, you could perform everywhere in China, organize a tour. So for me, this was a very big change, because I had many friends who opened their own live houses. I'm talking about Chinese friends who opened their live houses. Second change, of course, it's about the music online. Before 2000, everywhere in the world, when you want to promote a song, it's so expensive. It's difficult. You need to know people on radio, on TV. You need to have money to record on the studio. Music was for rich people. And my first CD, the first CD I recorded, I had to work 3-4 months just to get enough money to record the song. But then after that, many softwares, the style of music, the distribution became more online. Everything was online. And it was a good way to promote after 2018, 19. And then, of course, after 2020 with the COVID and everything, then you could really earn your money online. A big difference.
Then let's talk more about your experiences in China. You told me that you once went to Qiandongnan. Besides this, did you go to any other village or town here in China?
I went also to places around Suzhou, around Hangzhou. I went to villages, I think it was Zhou. We went also to small cities in Hainan. I think it was in 2018. We shot a music video about Boao. And we wanted to go to some places where we could find Miaozu, and they also had small villages.
Talking about Boao, actually, the Boao Forum has just been held in Hainan. Well, we've been talking about your song creation. Could you share with us one of the most impressive experiences in this regard?
Of course. I wrote a song from here, from my studio in the French Alps. I wrote this song with the piano. This song is called Cette route, which means this road, 这条路. And I recorded the song here in France. And this song, a lot of French people like it.
Is it possible for you to sing the song now?
Yeah, I can do it, yeah. prophecy.
I have to admit, although I don't understand French, yet I find the song beautiful, the melody and the emotion. So is it about what you said, the road? This road, right? Tell us more about the lyrics.
Yeah, it's a description of this road. That means that the Silk Road was made to link people. It's also in the imaginary, in the dreams. It's a road that links France to China, for example. So Western countries and Asian countries, China. It's also about the fact that we need to cherish the road. It's like it's important for humanity. Yeah, I really enjoyed to write this song. It was really great, and it was really cool also to go to Beijing to sing this song.
What's your future plans for your music career, both in China and France?
I want to go on with recording records like CDs. I want also to help my artists to succeed in what they do. And I really want to go back to China and to perform. This is what I like to do the most.
That was Fang speaking with French musician Christophe Hisquin on his experiences and observations on China's music industry. I'm Shane Bigham. Thanks for listening.